Manchester United won, Chelsea Football Club won. Cristiano Ronaldo saves Ralph Rangnick, saves Manchester United, saves the fans from even more embarrassment again. That's the 16th point this season that Cristiano Ronaldo has been almost single-handedly responsible for gaining Manchester United. The league table would look awfully different if it was the other way around. Another abstract, lazy performance, a lack of quality from many players as well tonight. Nothing that should be surprising or shocking anybody at all. When you look over the past three games, the opportunity to stand up, represent, 4 goals conceded against Liverpool, 3 against Arsenal, and a further 1 today. 8 goals conceded in 3 games with only 2 goals scored. An embarrassing night. And also a story that really kind of embodies Chelsea's season as well. Dominant, the better team, but unable to take their chances and put Manchester United to the sword. I was kind of watching the game, and look, I'm a Man United fan. I want Manchester United to win. I couldn't believe we were still in the game. We went 1-0 down, and I expected that to be it. United to concede maybe 1 or 2 more goals. But Chelsea, again, that little brain fart moment, that little glimpse of hope that they give their opponents in so many games. And this is something which is going to have to be addressed in this game. 6 shots on target for Chelsea, 9 shots off target. Man United with just 4 shots in this game, only 3 on target, 1 off target. Awful. Chelsea also had 6 shots blocked in this game as well. 65% possession, 9 corners to 2. One of Man United's literally in the last moment of the game. An absolutely embarrassing performance again by United. And I know Chelsea fans will also, I don't think Chelsea fans would use the word embarrassing, but they dominated the play. The underlapping runs from the midfield players or attacking players from Mount out to wide positions, the freedom of the park that Reece James and Alonso had in the flanks, not addressed at any moment by the manager, not addressed at any moment by a single Manchester United player. Absolutely horrendous beyond belief, really, that's happening. And look, that's all the hard games done now is in against fellow top 6 opponents. There's we got left to play Brentford, there's Palace, and there's one other game. I literally haven't even looked, and 3 games left now to endure until the summer for Manchester United fans, and I bet they cannot wait. Chelsea, of course, got that big FA Cup final on the horizon, and will want to find a little bit of form before going into that, because they're going up against Liverpool, who right now are in absolutely scintillating and breathtaking form. They're going to want to improve on that. But I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on this game. We've got the panel coming later, calls coming later on the terrace as well. A lot of people talking Reece James. I have to say, Reece James. Do you know what's really interesting about Reece James today? We had Zayn on the show last night kind of moaning about Trent, saying, hasn't really had the same level of chances created or assists in recent games. And my view is, I think he's put some really good balls in. People just either haven't got onto them or they didn't finish their dinner. You can't blame that on the creator. The creator's job is to put the ball into the danger zones and or to find their man. And Reece James tonight did that impeccably well. Yes, he was given so much space by Rashford and Tellers in the first half, and Elanga and Tellers in the second. Elanga did a little bit better, but he was phenomenal. By far the best player on the football pitch by a country mile. Probably followed really by Matic from Man United that was good in the middle. I thought Kante had a very good game at winning the ball back. But Reece James, excellent. Delivery is so unlucky not to score with his left foot when he cut inside. And look, if he can get himself to a position where he's fit and he's firing and ready for 85, 90% of the seasons, what a player he is going to turn out to be. I'm seeing a few comments. People saying Matic should have been sent off. What, for the accidental stepping on him? I don't think so myself. I think you could tell by the way he pulled his leg away, he didn't mean to do it. There's also an argument in the other direction. Rudiger already booked, and then a high boot catching Elanga in the face. They're nearly always given as yellow cards, and it wasn't given. So, look, I think in all intents and purposes, we've seen in recent weeks, referees are trying to keep 11 men on the pitch for both teams. It seems to be the initiative that they're under right now. It seems to be the way they're kind of programmed. We saw it in the Carling Cup final, or the EFL Cup final, Carabao Cup final, that there could have been some red cards in that game. Just in the weekend gone by, there could have been red cards. They're just not giving red cards. Mane the other day poking someone into the nose and eye area. Like a year ago, 2 years ago, that's a straight red. It just feels they're not trying to do it. So I understand why people are calling for it, but I don't think it was going to happen. And that's not a Man United thing. We've seen it in games in recent weeks. Let's do some more of your comments here, some super chats in. You guys talk so much trash about Ronaldo, and he's the only guy that plays with some kind of heart. Our team has tapped out, Terry. Do you know what? Chelsea have tapped out in the league. There's no doubt. And so have Manchester United. It was a really weird game to watch. I tweeted an apology to Ronaldo. He was never the problem in my eyes, but I did look at him as a problem. His inability to press, his age, his lack of mobility. He went for a period where he just looked really old and lethargic. He's come out the other end of that bad run, and he scored, 8 goals in his last 4 or 5 games. He's not really an issue. He's not really been an issue at all. It's a number of other players, including Marcus Rashford, including Bruno Fernandes, including Paul Pogba when he's been fit, the Martials and the Donnies not stepping up, Alex Telles, the low, not being good enough when coming in for Luke Shaw and AWB that should also be out the team, Maguire's consistent mistakes, McTominay being an absolute horrendous football player today, giving the ball away in leaps and bounds. Too much focus was on Ronaldo being a big problem or the problem in the Man United team. And again, the language is very important. But I look back now, hindsight's a lucrative commodity. He's been United's best player this season. All things, and no one deserves to be really shouted out for how well they've done. But what's that? 17 Premier League goals this season for a 37-year-old in this Man United team. Phenomenal. Rashford is an embarrassment. Terry, so lazy. I agree. Rashford today, his lack of, he didn't track. He didn't want to run. Dilly-dallying on the ball. They're prerequisites. His lack of quality as well. It's just been horrendous now for 12 months. And I understand Ralph's still trying to make this top 4 thing happen. But give some of these kids a game. Give some of the kids an opportunity. And I've got no issue with Juan Mata and Phil Jones coming on. What is it? Combined body age of about 107, combined age of about 60, or whatever it may be. They shouldn't be coming on over those kids. Rashford and Bruno shouldn't be starting for Man United at this moment in time. Horrendous. I don't know why people keep putting Chelsea with City and Liverpool. They are not on their level. Those teams should put us to bed within 6 minutes. Yeah, and look, Chelsea had opportunities to put Man United to bed as well today. What Chelsea need is killers up top, goal scorers up top. If you had 2 or 3 prolific goal scorers into this Chelsea team, you have a very different football side indeed, you do. Hashtag abuse Rashford, kick this guy out. Well, Nabil, not abuse Rashford, criticize Rashford. That's a very weird and stupid thing to say, my friend. You're a good member of the Football Terrace and Super Chatter, but don't write bullshit like that, you mug. No player deserves abuse. Criticism is different from abuse. Come on, you pleb. Terry, Gary Neville said, give the kids a chance during commentary. Yeah, of course, and they should be, because top 6 is over. Top 4 is over, sorry. We might still make the top 6. West Ham aren't really going for it, but it's done. It's dusted. It should really be moved on. There's no doubt. That save. Look, David De Gea had another good day in front of goal. There's no doubt. But those players should be finishing those chances. They were kind of straight at him, especially Kai Havertz with 2 golden opportunities to score. He should be burying them. We've got Tom Little. We've got man like Waz, we've got Sunshine, we've got David and Daniel all joining us for the panel. We will be taking your calls a little bit later. The Chelsea boys haven't arrived yet. I'm not too sure where they are. But we can do some more of your comments that are coming through. Ronaldo getting used to scoring on those Thursday nights is what Blue Moon F said. Well, he's going to have to. And look, I shudder to think how many goals Ronaldo could actually have scored this season in a coherent system where players are working and creating regularly. He would have easily scored 10 more goals, 12 more goals across all comps this year. Do I want a younger, more energetic forward with a longer future? Yes, but will Ronaldo still be key at times for I think he would. I think he'd do a lot better. He's going to be a year older, but look, there is an issue with him. His age, his lack of mobility, depending on how you want to play. But I think it was overplayed that the card, it was a Fugazi hand in poker when it comes to the Ronaldo criticism, because he wasn't the problem ever. and he wasn't one of the biggest problems at the club. Chelsea barely threatened when Lukaku came on. Yeah, Chelsea really lost their way towards the end of the game, and I think their fans will be disappointed because they were so easily the better team in this football match. It's unbelievable that Manchester United have been able to walk away with with even a point from this match. I'm not buzzing about it or anything, but there's a better feeling than a loss, and we've been tanked really on the scoreline in the last 2 games. Terry in the mud for thinking we would win. Only joking, dude. Yeah, listen, the game went how I thought it would. It was just Chelsea didn't take them chances, bro. But I know you're only playing. What does it say here? Was that gone? Would we be where Everton are without Ronaldo and De Gea? Look, it depends on who would come in to replace them. I think it's a little too basic to say we'd be completely 16 points worse off because another striker maybe would have scored us some other goals. If we had a striker with more mobility, maybe we patch those areas up a little bit as well. But, David De Gea and Ronaldo this season, De Gea's distribution is awful. It's caused us problems. But in terms of his shot-stopping ability and Ronaldo's goals, they've been hugely key for Manchester United. And that just can't be denied, irrespective of what you think of them. I don't know if you noticed, Terry, but since the new manager, David De Gea's distribution has gotten better. Also, did you see Phil Jones outmuscle Big 4-4? I did, and I kind of cheered when he did it. I think I heard the Old Trafford crowd do it as well. I've fallen back in love with Phil Jones. I don't even quite know why. Don't want him playing, by the way, but yeah, I heard that. And look, I don't think David De Gea's distribution's got better. I really don't think it's got better. I think he's going long a lot more, which we're still losing possession, but we're not losing it at the edge of the box, and maybe we're not noticing. And that's the most sensible thing to do with somebody with his passing ability there. Thank you, Ads here. He says, like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you join the Discord server. Link in the description. Top man, Ads. Thank you very, very much indeed. Dwayne here says, Alex Tellers defending is suspect. Alex Tellers is a fraud. He's got a decent cross, but he has no athleticism. So what he does, he tucks himself in more narrow so that he's protected by a centre-back. And he's begging for the wing-back, or not wing-back, sorry, the attacker on the left, Elanga or Rashford, to come back and help him. Because if he goes out one-on-one, I don't think it's his defending that's an issue. I honestly think if he goes out and he's too close near that byline, he moves like he's 96 years old. Residential home FC, bro. This guy is old. I bet he fucking smells like Werther's Originals, like legitimately, and peppermint, right? This guy is awful. He is. The Premier League is so physical. It is so fast. He is simply not the guy now, and he never will be the guy. And listen, he did well. He was doing well in slower leagues, less physical leagues, and his ability shone through. When he comes to the Prem, got to have all 3 things, generally speaking. Speed and physicality, or at least one of the 2. And of course, you need good technique. I think his technique's okay. The rest of it, poor. Really is poor. Let's do some more of these comments before the panel comes out. Chelsea boys are still not here. I don't know what they're up to. They might be crying somewhere. They probably thought they were going to win this game. Where we're at here. Come on, West Ham. They're still in this. What is the score in the West Ham game? I kind of... they're losing 2-1 in that. Okay, yeah, I mean, they're still in it. They could come back in the second leg. It'll be interesting to see. I didn't get a chance to watch it. It's annoying they rearranged this game, really, and they put it on the same night as European football. But there we go. It's crazy how you talk more about Tellers than Rashford and Bruno. Well, it's interesting that you say that because I don't know how much you watch the Football Terrace, but since about November, December, I've been calling for Rashford to not be kicking a ball for Man United. Many times for Bruno Fernandes to be dropped. So the point is that you come in an isolated moment and you hear something. Go back through the catalogue of work that we do and what I've spoken about on the Football Terrace, and you would know the balance of my words. It's also a weird thing to talk about because the question and the point someone raised was about Alex Tellers. They didn't say, Terry, talk to me about Rashford, and I deviated to Alex Tellers. Then you'd maybe have a little bit of a point. So really poor from you there, my bro. Nice attempt to deflect and put more pressure on the players that I've openly criticized in this stream and said how horrendous they were. So I'm sorry, my friend, but you are so in the mud, my friend. You're choking right now. Is KJ's surname Robertson? I don't think so, no. That's a strange thing to ask me, the boss. De Gea's distribution isn't that bad when he's playing with Varane and Lindelof, is what Andre's got to say. Yeah, I mean, ain't that bad isn't brilliant, though. Champions of Europe, you're definitely not that, is what Mo Solomon has got to say here. Terry Luke Shaw has had one good season at left back. Listen, just because I'm saying that Alex Telles is a bit of a fraud doesn't mean I'm endorsing Luke Shaw to stay there forever. I want better. This is what Man United fans have got to get out of the habit of doing. Someone says, Terry, what do you think of Fred? And I say, I don't think he's very good. On no planet should the response be, but yeah, but McTominay's worse. It's like, bruv, that is a micro penis, tallest dwarf conversation. Why are we doing that as Man United fans? Why do we persist on like fighting amongst ourselves over average players? Aim for better. Oh, do you know what I mean? Aim for better. Come on now. Higher standards, please. Chelsea bottled it. I don't think they bottled it. I just don't think they got the quality goal scorers up front. It's as simple as that for me. Simple as that. My bad. No worries, my guy. No worries, my G. Thank you for apologizing. I appreciate that. Rashford is lazy, lost his ability and fire to work for the better. Bruno can't play the whole field alone. But they both look lazy to me. Bruno today as well was doing this thing where he wasn't really tracking his runners, but he's moaning at everybody else. He was pointing the finger, but not leading by example. And I've got an issue with players that don't work hard. And both Bruno and Rashford, to me, they do they do the Fugazi press. Could be a dance, you know, the Fugazi press. They look like they're pressing and running around hard, but they're not really doing it. It's almost like, you know, goalies that make camera saves. You don't need to dive for that. Like you don't need to sprint for the ball there, bro. You're not going to make it, but they do it so they look busy. But they're not really doing anything. They're not really doing anything. Terry, could use something, KJ, if he wants to meet my stepmom, Lisa Ann. She thinks he's fit. Yeah, KJ exposed himself last night to know who an adult worker was. But there we go. It's all fun and games until Liverpool annihilates the Blue Moon, is what Ryan says. Fair play for that. Bruno was captain. Yeah, and Bruno was awful today. And Bruno deserves huge criticism for what was nothing short of another abysmal performance from him. And he's someone that deserves a lot of criticism at the minute because he's just done that new deal. And just because he was great for 18 months doesn't mean that he should circumvent the kind of criticism that he deserves. He needs it right now. David's about to join us backstage. We're going to bring the panel out now to have their say. Do me a big favor, people, and smash that like button. Let's get it past 500 likes while we are live on the air. But in case you've been living under a rock for the past couple of hours, Cristiano Ronaldo equalizes a couple of minutes after Alonso gave Chelsea the lead. He saves Man United's blushes again. Hope of top four is over. Chelsea pretty much safe and secure now inside that top four. I never really thought they were going to fall out, but they've kind of got it done. Not a good day in the office for them. Panel time now, people. Make sure like buttons are being smashed. Make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace. Let's do it. Welcome back to the show, gents. Welcome, Waz, for your first appearance on the show. How you doing, mate?
Hi, yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolute pleasure. I'm getting a bit of echo from somebody. I'm not too sure. Actually, I think it might be from you, Waz. If you've got some earphones, you might be able to throw in, bro. That'd be great. A weird night, though, boys. Poor performance overall from both sides for different reasons. What are you saying, David, as a Chelsea fan?
Terry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Right, okay. My computer's been special. I freaking hate my team right now. They're just useless. It's that simple. Can't score for their freaking lives, and that's all of them. Can't create, what was it, 18, 20 shots on goal, 7 or 8 on target, and...
Oh, David's gone. I don't know where he disappeared to. His computer died. Yeah, I've got a Tom on that, on Chelsea. Very wasteful today, weren't they?
Yeah, that's Chelsea's issue. I mean, they created something like 21 chances, and then their goal scorer was the left back. Like, Reece James was one of their more dangerous players. Their attack is just so poor at times. De Gea was called in a couple of times to make some really good saves in that first half. But Chelsea there's no goal scorer. When you're trying to challenge, like Chelsea are, you need someone who can sit there and go, they're getting me 20, 25 a season. Chelsea don't have that. And these type of games is where it comes back and bites them. Because if you've got a striker, like let's say Lukaku worked out, or anyone who can get 20 goals a season, Chelsea win that game today, 2-1, 3-1, because some of the half chances that they're missing, a world-class striker scores them. So until they figure out how their attack will work with a world-class striker in there, because don't get me wrong, Kai Havertz has been brilliant in that role, but he's not a goal scorer. For Chelsea to work, they need a goal scorer, and they need to figure it out this window. Otherwise, it'll just be another year where they're not doing anything. They won't challenge us, and they won't challenge City if they don't have someone getting 25 a season.
Yeah, I agree, David. Sorry, I cut out on you, bro, because something happened. But yeah, what were you saying, mate?
I literally was going to say the same thing as Tom. We can't be making 20, having 21 shots, 8 shots on target, and scoring 1 goal. It's just not acceptable. Team is useless, can't score goals. Midfields are not great. Defense isn't great. They can't, for some reason now, whenever we score a goal, we just seem to concede a goal straight away after. No composure, no concentration. Mendy, again, he's kind of looking just a bit average right now. And like, when you're not the best with your feet and you're known as being a shot stopper, if you're not shot stopping, you suddenly look like quite, not the level that people were talking like for you to be a part of. So yeah, but that doesn't shock me because I said at the start of the season, stuff like this will happen. But at least we have £100 million striker. Woo!
Yeah, look, I mean, look, it's not just on him as well, though. I think it's widespread across your team, needing those finishes.
Oh no, Daniel. Before I came on, before I cut out, I literally said they were like half of them need to go. It's obviously Lukaku's my example because I have a very special. He's like the golden child of my hate. But Pulisic's got to go. Werner has to go.
No. I get that, innit? I get that, innit? But obviously, we're reacting to games on a game-by-game basis, innit? And I've already admitted, look, fam, I had so much hope and faith in Lukaku and hope that he would do it. But again, it didn't turn out great, and that's fine. But I think it's a bit disingenuous, innit? Because obviously, he's the face of all your hate. But the guy that's the face of all your praise, he deserves a huge amount of criticism today as well. Kai Havertz, he had gilt-edged opportunities to kill the game in the first 30 minutes, let alone across the whole game. Look, at the end of the day, yeah, fair enough. We'll probably get third, and we have a FA Cup final to look forward to. But there's, just like Tuchel said, and I wonder what he's going to say in this post-match press conference. This squad needs cosmetic surgery. Like, there's a lot of things that, and like when people come up to us, and I'm speaking for Chelsea fans, and say, we overrated our squad. Well, yeah, that's what we do. Like, we're fans. We look at our team and we think, yeah, our squad is good enough to compete and our squad is good enough to do this. We literally just came back off winning the Champions League. People are moving as if we finished 4th and didn't win any trophy last season. And we looked at our squad and said, yeah, we're going to win the Premier League. Like, we had great thinking. There were other rival fans who thought we were going to win the Premier League as well. So it's not far-fetched. It's just that things haven't panned out the way we thought. And there's things to be addressed, and we need to address those things. And once we address those things, hopefully we will be in a better place. When you look at guys like Kai Havertz, I think I expect more from him. We've seen the purple patch. We've seen him be excellent. Now a bit of consistency in that form. It can't just be for 5-6 games. It has to be on the 10, 15 game stretch, especially because of the standards that Man City and Liverpool are setting. I still do honestly believe that we will somehow go and beat Liverpool and win the FA Cup. Like, so is this team and how we perform. Where when we least expect it, they come out of it. Obviously, it's just me backing my team, of course. But I have a feeling that we can do something. But today was frustration, and it was literally a full-on movie depiction, whatever you want to call it, full-on a documentary of our season. A Man United team that were literally telling us, beat us, please beat us, and we still struggled. Like, it was so bad, and I was just a bit annoyed. It literally look at the goal we scored. Like, it was a very, very good technical quality goal, but there were easier goals there. The crosses James was putting in today, like on a plate, literally dying for someone to say, just tap it into the goal. Like, it was frustrating. And then obviously Ronaldo only needs one chance. And you look at Kai Havertz's chance, and you look at Ronaldo's chance, and you literally just shows them, like, obviously Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah, man.
I hear that, mate. And from a United point of view, I want to ask Dizzy and Sunshine this and Waz as well. Like, you look at this game and you look at the way the game kind of went, and Was this a case of Manchester United already being on the beach? Was this nothing to play for? Or was it just, again, a lack of effort and a lack of quality combined? Because there were some atrocious moments tonight.
I'll let you go, Sunshine. You go ahead, G.
Yeah, say no more, man. Yeah. I mean, you got to take this into perspective now. These players, they gave up from Everton. From time, there's no coming back after that Everton game. In terms of from a moral standpoint, there's no coming back from that. These players from that moment confirm that they are not ready to play football no more. They're just literally out there catching vibes on the pitch, and if something happens, great. Ronaldo's only the last professional on there with De Gea, in my opinion, on that field. Scott McToilet, we saw him messing up in midfield, trying to dribble past man, just trying to, it's just not good enough. But no matter where you look on the pitch, there is no way in my mind that this team was going to get any result out today. I think they're very lucky to get what they did out today because of a beautiful pass from Matic. And for fair play to Matic, you could see he was trying all the right things. I don't forever doubt his intentions in that game. He just hasn't got it anymore. And I'm not going to hold that against him because I don't expect him to, be 5, 6, 7 years younger. That's not normal. He tried everything right, just wasn't able to get it done. But, that persistence for that goal came from Matic still making that 5-yard burst to reclaim the ball, plays the ball over to Ronaldo, and what a finish from Ronaldo. Just touch, knew where he was putting it. That's the only place he probably could have put it, unless he hits it slightly into the ground just under the keeper's hand and gets it in. I mean, that's the only bit of brilliance I've seen today. Rashford just not tracking back. Some would argue that that's probably the reason why we did concede in the first place. It's just it's just lazy football. It's lazy. These players, again, I will continue to say it. They're entitled. They're privileged. They're overhyped. And that is they are the epitome of the culture that the Glazers have allowed us to have. Everything that is wrong on the pitch from a moral standpoint, whatever word you want to bring to the forefront that represents exactly what the Glazers are, and the board members. And I was quite happy to hear Old Trafford sing Glazers out, because it's about time that the fan base within the stadium actually stop buying shirts and actually getting out there and putting the right message across, because this can't continue. I'm happy for Chelsea to come and slap us today, because I didn't expect to get a win. I had no expectancy, so I'm quite shocked that we got a point today.
Yeah, I hear. Waz, how about yourself? Welcome to the show, my friend. Obviously from United Analytics on Twitter. What was your take on today? Frustrated at the performance, or almost at a stage now where you're past kind of caring about what they're doing on the pitch? Where's your head at with things right now?
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, first of all. Am I still echoing you? Am I okay?
No, all good now, my friend. Whatever you've done is perfect now.
All right. So it's like two separate conversations. The conversation in regards to the bigger picture, and there's a conversation regarding the actual match performance. I think Naji's covered the conversation off the pitch really well. So let's talk about the football today. I thought at the beginning of the game, the issue was we weren't either pressing them or sitting back in a compact shape. We were in between, so it was very easy for their team, Jorginho and so on, to play past our midfield. And with the lack of our pressing midfielders anyway in Matic and McTominay, it just compounds the problem. And then we saw the issue with Rashford all game. I was tweeting about it. I go, Chelsea will score through Reece James, and then an hour later, I quote tweeted it. Yeah, this is just what happened, because it was just obvious. Rashford wasn't tracking Reece James because Tellers has to come in and pick up one of their wingers. Is it maybe, I think it's Havertz on that right hand side, or whoever it was, and then the right hand channel that's free, and that's where Rashford has to follow James. He's got no other option. About 60% of their attacks were on their right hand side, and we could see on the opposite side, Elanga was actually tracking his man, and that's why there was less attacks on that side. So that was an issue. Second half, slightly bit better. They swapped over in terms of wings, but it wasn't great. There's a lot of problems at United in terms of the team, the profile of players. It's all a mismatch. It's like currently we've just got to take what we can into next season. A lot we've got to strip a lot back, and the good parts we've got to take it into next season in terms of profile of players. Some players can move forward, but many can't, and that's what it is. It's towards the end of the season. Nagy and the rest of us, we don't really expect anything at the moment. So Yeah, so I've gone past anger. I'm more disappointment, and I'm trying to look forward to them.
Facts.
Yeah, look, I get where you're all coming from. I'm very much in that same space as well. For me now, I just don't. To say it's weird watching the Man United game, and I want to. There's part of me that wants to win as a fan, but I don't really care. It's the one thing though that I'm angry about again today, not from a ranting point of view, because I've said it before, but the lack of trying. And you bring Rashford up as an example there. If he touches off, if he misses some chances, I'm annoyed. But to not work hard, to not track men back. And look, Alex Telles doesn't have the physicality to take care of Reece James. Plus, he is being dragged inside. He needs help. He didn't do it. We're then having to put Alanga onto the left-hand side so that he actually... this is where I do look at Ralph, and I'm like, hang on. So you make the change because Rashford isn't tracking back. Take Rashford off. Bring one of those kids on and give them a chance, because he doesn't want to be on the football pitch right now. And I so want there to be a sacrificial lamb or two this summer. And I don't care which players it is. Grab one or two of them who are highly regarded by the board and go, do you know what? We're going to make an example of you for your lack of energy. You can't just decide to start playing hard when Eric Ten Hag arrives. I think we've got to set that precedent sooner rather than later as a football club. I really think we do.
Yeah, for me personally, there was a bunch of things going on in my head, to be honest, watching this game. I was so bored, I had nothing but time to think of what the reality of the situation is. First thing, on Chelsea, I want to quickly touch. If Chelsea play the way that they played today against Liverpool, we're living in a world where one of Liverpool and Man City are going to win a treble. That is an incredibly startling realization I had halfway through the game. But as far as United goes, I started thinking, Ronaldo, people were talking about Ronaldo being the problem, blah, 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 this, that. The reality of the situation is Ronaldo got to United and he found a bunch of pretenders. In the words of the great Tyson Fury, he found a bunch of dossers. People that act like they've arrived and they haven't. They think that they've done something in the game. They walk around the pitch like they've done something, like they've earned the right to not track back, and they've done nothing. And that is exactly where we are. That is exactly how we have had these results. Today was not an outlier. It was Chelsea being poor. Realistically, if they finish their chances, we lose 4-5-0 again. And that is the reality of the situation at United. The players just aren't good enough. They don't track back. Their head's not in it. They're waiting for this magical messiah that's going to come and be the manager to save everything and change the world. And that's just not how football works. So, yeah, it's incredibly disappointing. But that's where we are.
Yeah. No, listen, I hear you. It's the backdrop of what our two biggest rivals and geographical rivals in City are doing. Is painful to see. And even with Chelsea today, yeah, they were poor and their season did fizzle out mainly because of what happened in December. And they are behind Liverpool and City, but they signed a couple of decent players this summer. They aren't far behind. It's the draws that have killed Chelsea. But generally, yes, they've got Rudiger leaving. They've got to get that right. So there's a bit of work to do. But Chelsea are in a good space. A lot of Arsenal fans are happy with the direction that they're going in. And I look at us and just think we have got to get this right. And the next kind of talking point, I am going to talk Chelsea as well. But of course, the big news just before kickoff that Ralph may be about to be appointed as the new full-time coach of the Austrian national side. And David Ornstein's report on this sent shudders down me, really, that he's also going to continue to be this consultant. And Man United are reportedly relaxed and happy for him to do it. And I understand it's only 6 days, 7 days a month that we want him in. But you're going to be the full-time manager of a national team, which is a hell of a lot of scouting, there's still a lot of work that goes into it. And you're still going to spend a quarter of your month, every month, helping Man United try to get back to the peak of our powers. How on God's green earth are our club even considering allowing that to be the case? It's almost like Ralph might think he can do it, but it's almost, I'll learn from United. I learned from this job. It's great. We should be saying, no, Ralph, you either give us that we want you doing this exclusively with us, this amount of time for a certain amount of money, or not at all. He could be walking away.
He's freelancing at United. Literally part-time contract, working from home, remote, hybrid, all of the work that we're used to. Like, I think as a United fan, I would be annoyed because personally, it doesn't make sense. Like you're talking about a clean-up, getting all these guys in. You're gonna have potentially these big characters like Eric Ten Hag, then have Paul Mitchell, and then what's Ralph's role in all of this? Do you know what I mean? Like it just sounds confusing, and the whole like much ado about nothing, basically getting the guys in, but maybe not giving them the responsibilities and the power that they should have. You know what I'm saying?
The problem that you guys have is you're trying to make sense of it. This is United we're talking about. It doesn't make sense. United's being run on autopilot. The decisions aren't really being made at all. It's a bunch of half steps and no real decision being made. So it won't make sense. This is just, it's crazy, man.
No, I hear it. I think what stands out to me, I'd love to get Waz's opinion on this first time being on the show as well, is this element of, we had Dean Jones back in December that said if Man United don't give Ralph a proper senior full-time role, he'll probably go and get a job elsewhere because he wants a full-time job. And that's exactly what's happened. I mean, and that was what people that know Ralph were reporting into journalists back in December. And we're still, I know there's negotiations going on, but the board don't even want to bring in Paul Mitchell. If Ralph leaves or is doing a half job, we bring in no Paul Mitchell or an equivalent, and it's just Myrtle and Fletcher with Ten Hag, we ain't getting better. Like in terms of winning the titles again and getting back, we're just gonna go through 2.5 years of Eric in, Eric out, new player wars and micro penis competitions. Waz, like, what's your take on this news just before kickoff?
Yeah, it was disappointing to hear. I didn't fully read into the information and stuff because I was busy, but I did see the headline and the captions and so on. It is a bit strange because with our current situation, we basically need full-time focus, and we need Ralph at the club where he can be that. I don't know what titles and what names of each Fletcher, Merton. It seems like all of a crossover, and it's all a bit of a mess. Or they're trying to keep him there. They're trying to bring Ralph in, but keep them there at the same time. But they've got the same job at the same time. It's all getting slightly confusing now. Even with Paul Mitchell, what would he do? Feels like there's too many cooks in the kitchen, and they maybe need to move one downstairs towards a youth team or reserve team, something like that. Split up a bit. But yeah, it is disappointing because we need full-time focus. Will Ralph not be in there? Will the board listen as much? Will it just start to become it's old patterns and old ways? So that's the issue I've got. And with Austria as well, a lot of their players are they're all over Europe basically. So when you're scouting players to build your squad for, I don't think they qualified for the World Cup, but for future tournaments, you've got to go to games like Gareth Southgate. You see him all the time with Steve Holland you see him at Wembley, you see him at Villa Park, you see him at numerous stadiums. You've got to do your due diligence, especially with Austria. It's not like they've got many standout performers, so you've got to find that little gem in different parts across Europe. So maybe want to use a better off speaking about regarding the hierarchy than me, but it don't sit right.
No, I hear you on that. I was thinking a bit of Chelsea as well here. DR here says that today proves my point about Chelsea's attack. Until our attackers choose to slot simple through balls to each other from the start, we cannot score. And Matty said, Terry, question for David: if we get rid of Lukaku, who do you think we should bring in? In terms of your attack, you want someone else other than Lukaku. It sounds like he might go. You need more. Who's got to go and who's got to come in, gents? What we saying?
So David,
I'll go. So get rid is there's two types of get rid. There's get rid this summer, I don't want to see you again, and then there's get rid as in if you stay, it's not the end of the world. You can still contribute, but realistically, you should be upgraded. And for me, Pulisic, Lukaku. I'm trying to think of our forwards. Pulisic and Lukaku for me are just bye. I'm sorry. I'm done with them. Werner is Werner had a point this season when I thought it was bro, this guy's given up, but he's almost regained his form. So this is me just being we can't actually just get rid of 3 forwards. So if out of all of those 3 forwards, I will keep Werner. But I would also want Werner gone. The problem is that if we're being honest, the attacking talent around Europe right now is kind of poor. I can't think of if we get rid of Lukaku and we want to just go, let's get a straight striker. I can't think of many options that are actually, one, that are available, but 2 are actually any good. And then I think our best hope is we go with Havertz still with this striker thing. and then we just get more goal scoring threat wingers. But again, those are kind of rare to find, and then that means Mount's gonna have to go into midfield. It's just right now it's kind of a tough fit, so I'm not exactly 100% sure what we're gonna do. And I don't want, and again, I don't like. We have players like Broha, who's had a good season, but I don't want to get rid of Lukaku.
Well, we know you don't like. Question for Daniel: like, how far do you actually think you're behind Liverpool though? Because Liverpool City are the standard. Like, how far behind them are you? Is it one more window, or do you think it might be a couple more?
I don't know. I'll be real. I don't know, because like there's times this season where I thought, yeah, this team isn't even that far, and on their day they will beat Liverpool and Man City like 100%. But then there's also times and points this season where I've just been like, come on, man. If you really want to get to or achieve perfection and get to where we want to get to, where there's competing for league titles, then you got to be so much better. Look, I'm not going to go into the semantics about who should leave and who should stay, but I think one play in this game was literally a depiction of our whole season in terms of, I just think that no matter the combination of forwards that we've used in the front three, there's a lack of chemistry there. There's just a lack of, something's not clicking. They don't know where they're running to. They don't know where each other wants the ball played to one another. Lukaku's always saying, I pass the ball, like, I want it here. Mount's saying, I want it there. Pulisic came on, we had a counter attack. It literally, Lukaku made a good run into the box, and Mount was like somewhere on the edge of the box. So it was quite simple, the pass that needed to be made. Either you blast it across the face of goal, or you cut it back simply for a Mount tapping, and he crosses it somewhere else. Like, that's just literally what's been happening, literally connecting the dots, not being in the same position. Like Reece James had about 6 crosses that went into the same area. Surely it takes common sense for one of them to gamble. Like, how many games are we going to go through this season where we say, if we had Antonio, we would have won. If we had Ronaldo, we would have won. If we had Mane, we would have won. Just someone who can just be there and finish off the chance. Like, if you look at the attack, like everything up until the finish was the problem today. And I can tell you now, I can give you double-digit games where that's happened this season. And that's literally off the top of my head. How many times it's literally been everything up until the attack. So transfer-wise, I just want Tuchel to get a combination of attackers that clearly he wants, that it fits, it works. I've seen him at Borussia Dortmund. The attack clicked there. PSG, fair enough, Neymar and Mbappe, you expect it to click there as well. But we've seen it click. So we just need to sort something out. Like I've said, and like I've never doubted, I said third's always going to be there. We were limping towards third right now, but third we were always going to get that. It's just now about kicking on, innit? And I mean, third in the FA Cup, I will take that. I'm content. Not the greatest of seasons. I'm content, but we just have to kick on from next season and cosmetic surgery. Hopefully, if we can get the new owners in. And normally when you get new owners, the first window is normally a good window. Do you know what I mean? So if we can get new owners in and get new players in, like about, I'd say 5 players, I'd be happy in it, because there's a lot to be done.
I was going to say, like, do you want to go, Terry, or
no, go for it, mate. Go on.
I was going to say, like, it's so confusing for me because, like, from what I know of Tuchel, it's that he's an attacking manager. So why our attack just hasn't been able to click, to me doesn't make sense. Because this guy got Usman Dembele playing ridiculous like levels to the point where they spent 120 mil.
It comes down to this. It's obvious what Chelsea have. Barring Lukaku, you've got a lot of eye test merchants. You've got a lot of players that look like they're really good, but they're not very good. You've got a team full of Wilfried Zahas. They look great, but they don't do anything. Like Pulisic, he looks great, but he barely does anything. But based on the level of skill and attributes that he's got. And Reece James is a better attacker than the majority of your attackers, and he's a fullback. And I think that's what you need, players that are actually good. Doesn't matter if they look good; they've just got to be good. Like if you take Pulisic, all the ability gone, you make him look bang average, but he was scoring and assisting almost a goal a game. You'd be delivering as a football club, and I think that's what you need is killers. You need people that are going to put that ball in the back of the net and kind of finish these tems off. Don't forget, Lacazette is also available for free this year. He is. It'd be intriguing to see what he goes forward and does. I mean, when you look at them, though, Tom, you're playing Chelsea in a few weeks. in the FA Cup final. How do you feel about them in terms of them being a team to stop the treble or quad?
Chelsea are an annoying one because we should be beating them every time. We are that much better than them. And this is not against Chelsea because Chelsea are a very good team, but Liverpool and Man City are just that much better. They are that much better. They've set a new standard for how you're supposed to be. If we get 90 points this season, it's a disappointing season. So all that happens when we play Chelsea is there's such a well-disciplined... They haven't shown it recently, but I guarantee for that FA Cup final, they'll show up and be as well-disciplined as they can be. And that causes us issues, and that plays to their strengths. I'm just not really worried about them scoring goals. The biggest threat for goals is fullback. Marcus Alonso and Reece James. I would back Marcus Alonso in a one-on-one before I back half of your attackers. So as much as Chelsea can cause us problems, I do think we'll win that final. And I do think Chelsea is still a fair way away from reaching the levels of City and Liverpool. And it's not against Chelsea because you're quite clearly the best of the rest. But it's a different level to what you're at.
Yeah, I don't think many Chelsea fans at the minute are going to overtly argue with everything going on.
The thing is, though, I agree literally with probably 3/4 of that. You're definitely better for sure. The only thing I will say is that every game that we played this season, I think Chelsea and even Liverpool fans have said it. Like maybe you might disagree, but I think every game that we played this season, I think we should have won. You've got the Reece James red card game where at Anfield, where I believe we had the better chances in that game and should have won if things clicked in our direction. You've got the Anfield game where, I mean, the Stamford Bridge game, obviously you scored the first 2 goals, but then we came back in that one and had the chances to finish off that game as well in the second half. And then you have the Carabao Cup where I don't know how you feel about that one as well. I think it was quite even in terms of how it went, but if you look at the chances again, Mason Mount hitting the post, the minimal offside calls, the marginal ones, that's the word I'm looking for. So you look at the games that we've had and I think we've deserved to win all 3 of them. But so is our luck. So I think in a one-off game, we're not talking about a league where you need to be consistent.
I think you're spot on as well. It's just the issue of your issues of being. You say you've been unlucky. It's not unlucky to miss chances. It's just a bit crap. Mason Mount. It's unlucky if he has a shot and it deflects just wide. But Mason Mount was missing one-on-one, missed like 3 one-on-ones in the cup final. In the game at Stamford Bridge, Christian, was it Pulisic, gets played through one-on-one and just runs it into Keller's hands. At Anfield, Kai Havertz has a 3-on-2 and then plays the wrong pass.
I think from an outsider looking in, when I watch these games, I think I'm very much het up now on the system of things. I know the individual accolades of certain players aren't up to scratch from a Chelsea perspective, especially as we're seeing at the moment from an attacking sense, but the system that Tuchel plays, when it's working, it is one of the only systems I've seen game per game that has frustrated Liverpool and their team. And I've got to give it to him. That's where the evenness comes in, because if you can frustrate a Liverpool, one that gives you a lot of level of confidence, but also can play into the psyche of the players that are actually on that pitch for Chelsea. And there's no joke that certain players do turn up against Liverpool, or seemingly turn up against Liverpool to the point where they're looking like they should be winning the game. But with even more clear chances. I mean, with the greatest of respect to Liverpool, if you're on form and you're being kind of shaken by Chelsea consistently in games, whether it's a 15, 20-minute periods, whether it's a whole half or whatever, you can't go complacent there. And I think the moment any level of complacency creeps into that mentality, then you've got to start looking at when Chelsea do fumble Liverpool in moments of the game. It'll put them under pressure and things aren't working their way. That will then add a next level of pressure, which is going to make for a great game.
Yeah,
I just don't see any sign of Chelsea being like at that level, because when they've played us, they've been at such a high level. They haven't made any mistakes.
They could, don't get mistaken, they could do enough.
Now,
they could do enough to hold you to a draw, mate. They could do enough to hold you to a draw and go penalties. No problem.
I think with
we're all right there. Then we'll just let Kevin.
I think with Chelsea, I think there is a very, very good team in there. Of course, Daniel and David spoke about what needs to happen in the summer. I just think they're a level below. They're a level below, and they've also gone through this. Well, I think this is not an excuse, but it's a real reason. the sale of the club, the fact that they're trying to get business done right now, and I've spoke to people that work for Chelsea. They're in the middle of doing transfer business like 2 months ago, and they've had to stop the majority of that work. They've got players like Jules Koundé that still wants to join, but they can't do anything about it right now. They were talking to Paul Pogba a few months ago, and there were signs that Pogba might have been interested. They haven't been able to pursue that. There's players leaving because they can't renew contracts for certain players, and they've had to handle that in the background as well. That's why they need these new owners in and done. The fact that it's the 28th of April and we still don't know who they are, I think, is an atrocious process, really. It should have been done and dusted already. But we'll see what happens. Now, I want to bring this back to Man United for a minute, because Ronaldo obviously scored today. I retweeted something earlier that Sunshine put through. It sent through to me, and it was the fact that of Man United's last 9 goals that have been scored, 8 of them have been by Cristiano Ronaldo, 1 by Fred. Roy Keane has just said, I can play the sound bite. I can't play the sound bite. He was just said that he's such a big problem for Man United, scoring goals week in, week out. It's not good, obviously sarcastically. Do we feel like maybe as Man United fans, we overplayed how bad Ronaldo was for this team?
It's ridiculous, Terry. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I don't know. You know what it is? I 100% know there's a bag full of United fans that are too happy to listen to rival fans because Man United aren't in a good place right now. The way the Man United fans talk about this guy here is the same way rival fans talk about it, and they put him to one side. So it's not no average 37-year-old. It's not an average 37-year-old. He's still literally in 30-year-old condition. Yes, does he look as stiff? Of course he does. But even Harry Kane don't look all that agile. He ain't to dance on no floor. He ain't going to no clubs and hot stepping. He's not that guy. Yeah, but the guy's still lethal. He can still come through. Cristiano Ronaldo is just elite here. It doesn't matter about, like, we should not have been looking at this guy going, he is a problem. The issue I've seen with our fan base is that they have this expectancy of Ronaldo in 2008 and 2006 and 2007 and going, that's Ronaldo, the one that they fell in love with. Not realizing he's no longer that guy, but because some of them have realized he's no longer that guy, they stop there, they put a full stop and go, he can't be any good no more. No, look at how he's actually developed his game, what type of player he is now, and look how dominant he can be. Like you said earlier, Terry, this man should be on 10, 15 more goals easy already. Will people be saying the same rubbish now? And this is the most dysfunctional United side I've ever seen in my entire life. The guy's not, it's not even like we've been giving him 3 chances, Terry. Like, the guy's had to literally go, now I'm taking the game by the scruff of the neck, I'm bagging headers, I'm shooting from anywhere, I'm making every little dash run. He's on job. And I'm not saying he's going to be around forever, and it's okay to go, you know what? He's not going to be here forever, no problem. But let's stop shitting on the guy's name. Let's focus on the real issues of this team. He is no problem. Put him in a system, what we should be right now, we should be playing a style of football that gives him tap-ins. He shouldn't have to be leaping 60 foot in the air. Shouldn't have to be bicycle kicking things. We should be putting it on a plate for him. Let's look after his body.
Sunshine.
Sorry, David, let me put this into perspective. We all know how much better Liverpool are than Man United, right?
100.
Yeah. Cool. Mo Salah, who many are saying is the best player in the world right now, has played 3 more games this season and has 5 more goals than Cristiano Ronaldo. And that's Mo Salah, best player in the world right now in many people's eyes, playing for the best team in the world right now, and has played 3 more games and has 5 more goals. Honestly, you put Ronaldo into a team like Liverpool up front, and he easily matches 22, 23 goals sorry?
Put him in our team.
Any team. It's any functional team.
See, look, I said this. I think it was around about Christmas, November times when people were saying that he was a problem. I said, if he's the problem, we're not watching football. Football isn't the question if he's the problem. The problem is, and this is like going back 2, 3, 4 years, people were saying you could bring any center forward into this United team and they will be starved of goals. Martial starved
100%.
of goals. Rashford starved of goals. Cavani starved of goals. Name them, they've been starved of goals. So that's where we. I'm not saying that any of those players are class or deserve a second chance or a second run or anything like that. I'm saying they're starved of goals because that's just how it goes. But on Ronaldo, even if you look at today's game, how many clear-cut chances did United create for him?
No.
How many through balls did they slide in for him where it was like, okay, here's one he should score? None. He had a period, I think, of maybe like 2 months where he was missing chances that he definitely should have scored. But since then, we don't really create for him, so he's not the problem. The problem is the creation behind him. I say.
I hear that. I want to say very quickly. Sorry, Waz. A lot of Liverpool fans saying, "Come on, that he's got 15 assists and 15 assists versus 3 Terry. Plus he competes with." I'm not saying Ronaldo is currently on Mo Salah's level. That literally isn't the point. Why? I'm sorry to be so rude. Why are some people so fucking stupid sometimes? I'm sorry to be horrible. That wasn't the point of the comparison. The point is a 37-year-old pure out-and-out goal scorer in one of the worst football teams Man United have had in 40 years is only 5 goals behind the player that I think is the best in the world in terms of the goals. I didn't say overall play, creativity. You got to listen to the point I'm making about Ronaldo not being a problem. Sorry, it wasn't to say he was on Mo Salah's level. I'm sorry to have to say that out loud to everyone that got it, but oh my god, oh my word.
Even if you look at United, and obviously now if we're speaking about United, there's so many other issues. Like you look at your fullbacks. Like we've been saying that Dallo is literally a more technical AWB in terms of he doesn't really provide that much, and he just can look better in passing the ball. And
he's got one step over, bro. He's got one step over.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, Alex Tellers. I mean, I know Reece James, in my opinion, and look, everyone knows how I feel about Reece James. We've had the debate and all of that, and I think he's great. I think he's world class. But Alex Tellers made him look like flipping Dani Alves, Cafu, and everyone rolled into one. Do you know what I mean? With the way that he played, and then you got
Alex Tellers was the one past it, not Marcus Alonso, based off today.
Literally, and then you got. I saw a stat today. Apparently, De Gea and Mendy completed more passes in the second half than McTominay. From your central midfielder, that is just like it's not even criminal. That's like daylight. I don't even know the word, but boy, from your central midfielder and then relying on
stealing a living.
Yeah, like do you know what I'm saying? Matic as well.
Reggie, you know what's mad about them two? Yeah, we had a free kick. We had a free kick right at the end.
He crossed it. He overhit.
Tellers steps over. I'm thinking, Tellers, just put a decent ball in, mate. My man literally goes, "Nah, McTominay, take this, mate." Touches it, gives it McTominay. Man just bananas the ball wherever. This guy, man, he's awful, man.
I do
awful.
And I was going to say, I do think. I'm going to have to be careful how I word this because people get very annoyed. I do think Ronaldo. He is a problem. However, no. Say how.
Say how.
Cool. My point is that he is a problem, but it's not him inherently. It's the problem of Man United that's made him a problem. It's the fact that because of how poorly planned your whole transfer system has been over the past couple of years, that when you've focused all your hope and put it into this 37-year-old guy who, he may, even though he's an amazing player, isn't exactly what you needed. But the reason why he's not what you needed is because of the 5 years of bad planning that you've had. You think that was the last, not the last piece, but that was an essential piece.
So what you're saying then is ultimately...
What I'm saying is because there have been so many bad years of bad processes, he is also a part of that bad process. So
not him personally.
But it's not him personally.
So what you're saying is he is
it's
a false
Man United than Ronaldo, but he's just like because it's Ronaldo the player. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example, David. I'll give you an example tonight. One of the goals you should have scored when Kai Havertz went through on goal. Where did space come from? Lindelof did what we've all been kicking off at Maguire for doing for weeks now, stepping out when he shouldn't, leaving space and having the ball pass behind him. Maguire's making the mistake and deserves to be criticised, but why is Maguire doing it? Because our midfield, Man United's midfield, it's like trying to watch Jesus eat a Malteser. Just keeps falling through his hand, bruv. There's no middle, bruv. Keeps falling through. And this is I'm not protecting Lindelof and Maguire because they shouldn't step out. We shouldn't impress as a team. We should stay compact and be hard to break down. But they step out because they say, "Oh my God, where's the midfield?" The amount of times today the ball got played to the edge of our box, and you had a midfielder or a defender ready to have a long shot, and there was no midfielder within 10 yards of them. I'm thinking, where are they? They're just jogging around doing nothing, and that's going to be the biggest thing for Ten Hag next year. Build a team structure that's hard to break down because I've seen teams that don't have Villarreal. I know they lost 2-0 last night, but structurally very good. They are a team, with all due respect, full of Premier League rejects. But they've got a good structure as a football team. They're hard to break down, and they've managed to get some amazing results in the last 12 months in big matches. Man United needs something, don't need to be as negative as them, but they need a structure. Add a structure to even this group of players and make us harder to beat. And it's a different kettle of fish. But yeah, look, Ronaldo, for me, I think for myself, I didn't call him the problem, but I was a bit like, I felt he was one. I felt like the lack of pressing and mobility. And he went through that period where he was missing chances. And I thought, I think his body might be giving up on him. But he's come out the other end of it. And I feel a bit stupid now, having ever sort of put him on up there as one of the main issues at the club, because he's by far an issue.
You know what? With this game, though, I actually felt a bit sorry for Ronaldo towards the end, because he's clearly the only one in that team that can score, that can kick the ball on the goal, basically. Anyone on that pitch who was competent enough to do that. And he's the one that has to try and create chances, because no one else is trying to create. So the balls are getting played in the channels, and Ronaldo's having to go out, try and take on a United player and cross it in like it's 2004. Like, Fernandes isn't in the right position to finish it.
No.
God knows where Rashford is. Alanga is just... you're not giving him the tools.
But you can even see that there's amongst all the other problems, there's also definitely a confidence issue. Like, there's for everything that Bruno isn't, what he did have when he first came was confidence. He had a bit of an ego about him, and when he got into certain positions, he just unleashed. He just let rip. Like, there was a chance he had edge of the box, the ball comes to him, and I'm thinking, oh no, what have we done? And it's almost like he was on his left foot. He was waiting to pass to someone, like, instead of just shooting. Like, he was in the box, penalty area, 6 yard, whatever you want to call it, and he was there in the position to shoot, and it just wasn't there. Like, and the Ronaldo thing for me, look, I've never ever thought he was a problem. That pressing thing, I just disagree with it, because you can't say someone should press if the whole team isn't pressing with him and it isn't a coherent, cohesive press.
But that's what, David,
the point I was going to make
you're
today,
right.
Just very quickly before you piggyback off that, is like, the reason why I disagree with that is because if Chelsea brought in Lukaku we did bring in Lukaku, and imagine now he scores 20, 25 goals this season, but we're still third. Do we then say that Lukaku's the problem because we're catering so much to him that we're not getting the best out of everyone else and nothing's working, but he's getting his goals? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. If Ronaldo's able to get his goals, imagine Ronaldo in a structured, coherent, cohesive unit for a full season. He'd probably get 30 goals. He'd probably get matches average.
But
So,
for me, again, it's different for our club. But my biggest thing is, like, I personally felt that when we signed Lukaku, it was like this not process, but like the way that I think the club should be going. Is putting £100 million on one person, to me, regardless of how well he performed, was a bad idea. Because even in the summer, when we didn't know how good / bad he was going to be, I said, even if he gets his 20-25 league goals, that may still not win us the league. I thought there were so many other holes that needed filling.
Yeah,
like, dropping it all on one person. It's like,
yeah. No, I get your point. I understand where you're coming from, but when you're signing big players now, that's the going price. So lots of our clubs, all of our clubs, all the big teams in the next 5 years are going to be dropping hundreds of millions of pounds on individuals, because that's where the market's gone now. Do you know what I mean? And what's crazy, in another 10 years, £100 million for a player isn't going to be looked at as a lot of money. Example being, when you signed Fernando Torres for 50 million, it was like 50 mil.
Yeah,
Now, if you were picking up, I know it didn't work out for you very well, but now if you picked up a top-class striker for £50 million, everyone would say, what a bargain. That's the maddest thing with money now. It just changes people's perspective. But look, it's going to be an intriguing one. Look, I think what I've noticed today, just by the reaction of Chelsea and Man United fans, it's such a hard game to even really call afterwards. It's more talking about the future, because there wasn't much riding on today. A bit of pride wouldn't have gone amiss, but that's all it really was. Chelsea trying to stay as fit as they can for the big FA Cup final. Man United, listen, I mean, I know there was a little protest that happened outside again today, but then they all went in the ground and they stand up if you hate the Glazers. But sorry, I'm off to just go and buy a burger and give the Glazers money. Fucking, it just, sorry to sound horrible, it just don't make sense to me, bro. You know what I mean? It's like campaign, smoking is bad. Can you go to the shop and get me 20 Bensons, please? It don't make sense. You know what I mean? Honestly, it's a crazy one for me. It's like, I don't know. I can't even think of another example. It's just weird to me. But Everyone who's tuned in, thank you. Waz, thanks for coming on and making your debut on the show. All the viewers, a big shout out to all of you. Big content dropping tomorrow on the terrace as we gear up for another Premier League weekend. Make sure you hit like buttons and share buttons before you go. Subscribe. Take care. Good night.